Okay, TGI Friday. First of all, congratulations to the newly promoted detective class. Enjoy the new endeavor coming to areas near you across this city and the new D2B pay. On to court from yesterday. Somewhat surprisingly, but not totally a shock, Judge Mullen kind of split the baby with this decision. It was at least our understanding from the lawyers and labor law in general that the decision before the judge was quite simple. Either grant the city's motion to vacate the order and send it back to the arbitrator, or grant our motion for summary judgment to put the order and award in effect immediately. That's not what happened here. It was a little bit of both. That being said, we are certainly going to take this to the appellate court because two things, actually three. You can start with the retroactivity part of it and saying that officers were not afforded that opportunity if their evidentiary hearing had already been begun. That is not true. That was never in the award. Again, he totally reworded it basically, which we do not believe he had the authority to do. Then you go on to the money part of it. This lodge historically had to fight to regain lost wages for suspension time. But that changed in the grievance arbitration process well over a decade ago, where you were not serving any suspension time until the process was done, whatever that looked like at the end of the day. All this grievance arbitration process does now is extends it beyond 365. The provision for remaining in a paid status is the status quo and should have been granted, but that was yet another thing that he turned around on its head and created new language, different from what currently exists. Lastly, the public arbitration component. There is no provision in labor law that allows for public arbitration. He absolutely just created a whole new category with this award, and it is the basis why we will be back in the appellate court to get more clarity on that and a better decision, because this union is not going to be the union that plants the seed for public arbitration in this state when forever it's been private. We're going to continue to fight for that status quo on private arbitration. It is what is right, and stay tuned on that fight. But we'll see what the city does to the response to the filing for the appeal. And right now, we have arbitration for termination cases. The police board yesterday did not move on any of the cases it had ready to make a determination because of the court case. So there's a little bit of limbo, but as information comes in and filings are made and decisions are kind of rendered in court, I'll certainly keep you up to date on that. Lastly, let's talk about the contract yet again and the ridiculousness of this city. It was very clear from the finish of phase 2 and the mediation arbitration settlement and ratification by the city council December 13th that every department employee would be getting a $2,500 bonus, employee bonus. It was never a COVID bonus. It's not even a retention bonus. The original retention bonus that was called that was for veteran officers 20 years and above. The city offered, and we accepted and kind of agreed in exchange for other stuff, that it would just be a flat out employee bonus for every single member under our collective bargaining agreement. Now, the reality is that means everybody. And the date was December 13th. If you were on the payroll December 13th when the city council ratified phase 2, you would qualify and get that $2,500 check. If you have retired since then, you still get that $2,500 check if you were on the payroll December 13th. If you left prior to that, you do not. If you got on the job December 14th, you would not get that $2,500 check. But if you were a probationary police officer in the academy or still on your 18 months probation, you are getting that check. The city threw a curveball earlier this week by basically saying it didn't apply to those PPOs. That's bullshit. It does. We will continue to fight for it. Apparently, even though it was supposed to be paid out April 7th, they seem to have put it in the sellback paycheck today. Not surprising, because they can't do anything correct at 35th in Michigan or at the comptroller's office. But some members did receive their employee bonus. Other ones did not. Labor and Management sent an email back to us today notifying us that there's going to be some kind of trickle effect, that everybody should get their check at some point before April 1st. I mean, are you kidding me? it's pretty egregious how bad the payroll system has become ever since we agreed to the dates being changed, like the rest of the city, to the 7th and the 22nd. You think they would have had all the bugs worked out while they pestered us for 2 years to agree to change the dates like every other department in this city. But that's not the case here. So what we're advising is this: be patient. Technically, that was going to be originally get paid out April 7th. If you do not have that employee bonus by April 7th, contact the lodge. We will certainly deal with the one-offs. We will be certainly filing a class action grievance, and we very likely will be taking the city back to court on yet another case about not paying officers the money they were promised in the bargaining agreement. It's disgusting behavior, but it's nothing new. And sadly, it seems to have gotten much worse under this pro-union mayor. I mean, he has touted himself as pro-union, but there's nothing pro-union about him, at least in his policies and his follow-through. It's pro-migrant. That's all it is. It's pro-legal alien. Everything else is secondary, especially the police department. Everybody trying to have a good weekend. I'll be in touch soon.